the element will be more friendly according to the device we are using. That means if we are watching on a mobile, it should fit to mobile. If we are watching on tab, it should fit to the tab. So for a PC, it should fit to the PC. It should change according to browser, screen width, device. It should fit correctly. That's what it should change according to it. That's what responsive is. So already HTML is having attributes, but they are not enough. So we need some additional attributes. So we call those attributes as styles. So in how many ways you can define the styles? First point, styles can be defined. Styles can be defined in the three ways actually. We have inline. Styles can be defined inline. Styles can be defined embedded. And the styles can be defined in external file. That's what we call as style sheet. So that's what generally we call as cascading style sheets. So style sheets. So that is CSS. I will show you some important points. That means without style sheet also we can apply styles. So there are three techniques. We can write style inline. We can write style embedded. You can write style external file. First, we will see difference between them. What is inline, embedded, and external file? We will see the differences between them. So first, inline is nothing but inline styles are nothing but the styles are defined for every element. The styles are defined for every element inside their tag. That means if you want to apply for heading, then inside the heading tag, we write style. By using a style attribute, you can define the styles. That means you can write attribute and what value you want. Attribute : value. So this mechanism, how to write different styles, we will learn. Background, borders, all these we will discuss. Initially, first you need to understand. So first you need to understand what is inline means. Inline means the styles are defined for an element within the tag itself. Now, what is good and bad about these is, that means when they are suitable, what is the advantage is, see. Suppose we are having a heading here, some headings. So I will add a new file here, style demo.html. And we are designing a simple doc type HTML head, title, and some styles. In the body, we have heading 1, HTML, and we have heading 1, CSS, and heading 1, some JavaScript. Now I want to apply some styles. I want to apply some styles to the heading. Then I can directly write the style inside that heading. By using a style attribute, I can define the style. Suppose I can say some color is red, like this. Later, I will explain how to write colors, backgrounds and all. Don't worry. As of now, just basic. So I written some color red for this option. So this is inline technique. What is good is this is fast in applying that effect. It will apply the effect very fast. So that's good because it is inside that element, it will be fast. What is bad is it is not reusable. That means we cannot access and use from every location. So suppose you see heading 1 is applied with that color. We will give some background alignment, so many changes we will do. It is applied to this. The same I want for all headings, or the same I want for another heading. Then you cannot reuse this. You have to again write. That means again I have to write style, so color, so this red, like that. And if I have to change, then I need to change everywhere, every time. So every individual I have to change. So that is difficult. So there is no reusability. Reusability concerns are there. If you want some effects for different elements in a same way, you have to write for every element again and again. This is the problem with inline. But sometimes we want an effect for an element that should be only for that element. Accidentally or intentionally, it should not be applied for any another element. Then better you can go with this inline technique. It is nothing like which one is best. So as a software developer, never ask any question. So to anyone. So like which one is best, sir, out of 3? That makes you complete unprofessional software developer. You should never say which one is best, because if any one is best, then why they provided others? So why they have a technique of others? So it is nothing like which one is best. Which one is best, we decide according to the situation, according to the requirement. So as a software developer, so we need to understand for that situation, which one is best, and we have to use it. For every situation, every type is not satisfying. Every type have its own drawbacks, right? That is the reason always you have to follow what is suitable for that situation. So the good is it is faster. The bad is it cannot be reused. That is inline technique. We have embedded technique, embedded styles. We have embedded technique. In embedded technique, generally, we have embedded styles, embedded technique. So in embedded technique, what should happen here is, in embedded technique, the styles can be written. In embedded technique, the styles can be written in a separate style tag. So in a separate style element, you can write in a separate style element. Here, so many points are there. I will tell you. In embedded technique, the styles are defined in the style tag. And you see here, I am removing the styles individually here from this. Okay. Now, currently we don't have any effects. Now, in the head section, I am writing a style tag. in the head section, we are writing a style tag. Here we are writing the styles. How to write in different techniques we will discuss in the next point we are going to learn. Initially, temporarily observe. I want to apply for heading. Okay. So the element name H1. You can use ID, classes, so many. I will explain all of them. Currently, I am using for which element I want to apply, heading 1. And we have to define the effects in a parenthesis, in a curly brace, in a block. Here I will write some color as red. And what is the point here is, wherever this heading is there, so in the page, there this style will be applied. So it can be reused now. Now you can see that it is going to apply everywhere. Don't hurry into the concept. Just listen to the concept till the end. You will get a clarity of every point. So a lot of doubts will come. Those are all the points that we are going to discuss in this session now. So initially, first you need to concentrate on what is meant by inline and what is embedded. Embedded means the styles can be written in a separate style element. So that what is advantage of this is they can be reused. You can access and use in any location. So here some more points you need to understand. Reusability will be there. Now, when you are writing styles here, two questions are there. So where to embed style element? Two positions are there. We can embed in head section and we can embed in body section. We can embed in head and body sections. Observe carefully here. So where to write this style? Currently, I am writing in head section. I will remove from the head section and I will keep in the body section, anywhere, in the middle, in the top, at the bottom, anywhere in body section. And I am changing the color some blue. And you can see that in the body section also it is working. So you can keep the style in head section or in body section. Now, what is difference between them? When to keep in head section, when to keep in body section. Generally, we prefer styles in head section when we want to load into memory of browser. And use later whenever required. So required. Then we can better prefer in head section. That means we are writing the styles. We want to load the styles and keep in memory. We may use it immediately or we may use it later. But we want to load into memory and keep in the memory so that we can access and use later whenever we want. In that case, you can keep in head section. But if you want the styles directly load, if we want to directly load styles and apply on page load without loading into memory, then you can keep in body section. So depending on situation. Sometimes we want styles only when body is ready. So when body section is ready, I want the styles to apply. But sometimes we want styles to load and keep in the memory so that whenever they are required, they can be accessed and used later. Dynamically, they are applied. In that case, we prefer always in head section. So depending on situation, you can keep in head, it keep in body section. So depending on the situation, you can keep in head and body section. So if you want to load and keep in the memory, then use head. You want along with the body to load, then keep it in the body section. That's the situation actually. But one more third point is there, which we will not recommend to learners, but experts use this technique. The third technique is never told to you as a learner, but the third technique is used by software developers with vast experience behind. That means, remember, if you have 10, 15 years of experience in software development, then you will have a habit of writing these styles outside HTML. I will write outside HTML and I will put some green. You can see that outside HTML also the styles are working. Outside HTML also the styles are working. So, but anywhere in any tutorial or anywhere in any book, nobody will recommend you this point. So you will see that people tell you about head section and body section. But when you are working in real-time projects, so your project leads, team leads, people who have vast experience in development, they have a habit of writing outside HTML. The reason is generally this is outside HTML. What is advantage is it is very faster in applying the effects, very fast. That means out of the two techniques you have seen in head and body, outside HTML is fast. Then why we don't recommend this to everyone? Because outside HTML will have abnormal behavior. Abnormal behavior means in some situations, they will not work exactly how you are expecting them. They can misbehave. That is the reason only expert knows according to the situation, keeping outside is okay or not, because he have vast experience. He knows all consequences. Due to that, he have an habit of writing it outside HTML. And because he knows that for that situation, it will work. But a learner don't know the situations. He have to experience the situations, which you will experience by the end of this course. So you will understand different situations and problems. In that case, you will able to decide whether to keep it outside the body section or outside the HTML like that. But remember, this is never recommended to anybody. That means officially we don't recommend to do so, but we will do. As experts, we will do because we know it, the situation we know. But nobody anywhere in any tutorial, any book will tell you to put this. I will show you the difference. See, suppose here, I am watching this page. Currently, effects are not there. I will right click, open the developer tools. To open developer tools, select inspect. When you select inspect, these are the developer tools. Here, go to network category. Go to the network category. This is network category. In this network category, So you have to just refresh the page once. Once refresh the page, reload the page in network category. You reload the page. You can see that it records. Observe carefully. The page launched here. The page opened here. And you can see that the page is open. And you can see the page load time. So it has taken 98 milliseconds to load. At the bottom, you can see. So the DOM content loaded. So 98 milliseconds, 97 milliseconds. So why 2 points are there? Because DOM loading is 1 point and painting is another point. I will tell you in later stage, because for that you need to understand a lot of programming also. Initially, you can calculate this time. DOM load time, how much? 98 milliseconds. Okay. So 98 milliseconds to load this page. Okay. And important here is, I am keeping this now. So I am keeping this, observe here. I am keeping the styles in the head section. And I will save this. When I saved this, you can see the effects are applied. Now it has taken 400 milliseconds. It has taken 400 milliseconds because previously effects were not there. Now some effects are there. That means it took some time to apply the effects to your page. Previously, without effects, it was lightweight and it took 98 milliseconds. Now with effects, it becomes little heavy and it will take time to apply the effects also. And you can see it has taken 400 milliseconds to load. Now what I am doing is, I will remove from head section. I will keep outside HTML. Body section also average same like head section only. So outside HTML, I kept it outside HTML. You see now it is 116 milliseconds. It is 116 milliseconds. So the same effects, it is 116 milliseconds outside. That means actually without styles, it was 98. And with the styles, when you kept in head section, it took 400 milliseconds to load. Now it is just 116 milliseconds, but effects are working. Previously to apply this, it took 400 milliseconds. So that means keeping outside HTML will improve the load time. Page will be faster, but it may have abnormal behavior. That is the reason it is not recommended for learners. It is only for experts. Experts also, we never recommend that. We use on our own risk. So that is, obviously you have seen. What do you think? It hasn't reduced load time. Huh? I hope you can calculate. You know mathematics, right? I hope you can calculate the load time. So outside HTML is faster or in head section is faster. What you have noticed? What you have noticed? Yes, Kinera, what is the doubt? Understood? Right. Okay. Fine. You don't need to raise the hand until or unless you have a doubt to speak. Just you can ping the message. That's it. Okay. Right. Now the point here is, the concept is load time. It is not like you generally you may think like, so 116 milliseconds, only milliseconds difference. For a web developer, this milliseconds only difference. So that means even 2 milliseconds is faster. Then we use that technique. Even 1 millisecond is faster. We will use that faster technique. So that means because on internet, one of the main issue is speed. Clients always complain with the speed. So you need to keep your page lightweight. You need to keep your page in such a way that it reaches fast, it loads fast. Otherwise, your clients will not show any interest in using your pages. So you need to concentrate on that. So we can keep style in head section, in body section, and you can keep in outside HTML. So technically, how you configure and how you define. I already told you, to understand the abnormal behavior, what you have to do. To understand the abnormal behavior, what you have to do. To understand abnormal behavior, I told you, what you have to do. You have to finish your course and you have to do the exercises, everything I given to you, and you get some experience, then you will understand. Understood? Even the examples you cannot understand until or unless you have experience in complete technologies. Clear? Because understood? Srinivas, understood? Right? Abnormal behaviors are not given as examples. Don't become abnormal. You don't become abnormal. Abnormal behavior means according to the state and situation, they will change. For that, you have to work on a large scale application. Understood? Right. Yes. Now, Amardeep. Yes. Tell me what you understood about style. What you understood, you tell me. I will tell what is your problem in understanding the point, right? Tell me. You can unmute yourself. Amardeep Singh.
Sir?
Yes. Tell me what is meant by inline style.
Sir, inline style is that we can write the command in the element only, that heading
yes.
Here.
Good. Then what is problem in that?
No, sir. I am having problem in that.
Sir, I am asking what is problem in writing inline style.
No, sir. I am having problem styles, sir, that you are writing out of the HTML. So, sir, it is not compulsory, sir, that we have to write outside only. We can write inside.
That is what I showed you difference now. Have you seen the difference, sir? If I write outside, what happened?
Sir, it takes time for loading.
So if I written outside, then what happened?
It
load
takes
time.
Less time.
So what do you think? Which one is?
Sir, but most of the time we write inside only, sir. So
because you are a learner. After all, learner, right? That's what I said. 10-15 years experience software developer will not talk like you. Understood? Will not write like you in programs. Understood?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Right? That's what I am talking about. That is why I said that this is not recommended for people like you. So you sleep happily. You write in head and body section only. And you think that head and body section is best. That is enough for your level. Understood? That is why I warned. That is why I warned and I said that this is not recommended for people like you. But still, you have to know this. Because at high experience levels, people use it. That is only the point I am saying. So I hope you understood clearly. Because I clearly said that this is not for your level to understand. But Just know about it. Later at experience levels, you will able to understand the situations. For that, you need to learn complete CSS, entire development. Then you will understand different situations. That is the reason I said that in W3 schools, in a tutorial point, you will not find this technique writing. But practically, we proved that it is taking less time. What do you say? Everyone agree? Is it taking less time? Your W3 schools may not say about it. We don't care about W3 schools. After all, who are they? We don't care about W3 schools, tutorial point, all these people. Right. Because after all, so tutorial points, W3 schools, these are all people who write tutorials. So tutorials. So why it is, do you know? W3 schools. W3 schools, right? That itself says that it is for school kids. It is for school kids, not for developers. Understood? Now don't come with that point that in W3 schools, I haven't seen it. That is only for school kids, not for developers. We developers don't follow W3 schools. That is a complete dummies tutorial. Dummies means people who are starting their career for them. That is school level tutorial. Okay. Our tutorial will be, our concept will be developer side. That's why we call MDN. You visit this website, MDN, Developers Network. Visit this Developers Network. So in the Developers Network, MDN, so where developers will know about a concept. In W3 schools, you will not see in head section, in body section, because one of our guys said that, sir, we regularly write in head and body section. You write in head and body section because you don't know the other techniques, right? That is the reason you write in head and body section. So, and you haven't seen that in any websites because all those websites are dummy like tutorials. Right? We don't care about them. As a developer, we have to concentrate on the performance of application rather than just building the application. If performance is not good, then application fails in real time. That's the reason I am not giving here the third point. I am just talking about the third point, right? Why? Because officially we don't prefer head and body, but you use. You will experience this in various options in the later stage. Okay, right. So 2 points are there. So we write in head section or we write in body section. So if you have the awareness, you can write outside also. Outside. That is what concept. Next point is when you are writing the styles in head or body section by using style tag. Here you are writing some block of code. Now browser is confused about it. Now browser don't know so about this code that you are writing. Due to that, sometimes some browsers cannot understand your styles that you are writing. So you have to tell the browsers clearly. Now you may see that some browsers cannot understand certain styles. They can ignore them. Browser issues will come. That is the reason it is very important to tell about what kind of type of code you are writing inside this block. That generally we call this as MIME type. Already we discussed about the MIME type in a concept called image. When we learned about IMG, I told you some MIME types. What are the MIME types of images and how to deal them? MIME type is multi-purpose internet mail extensions, MIME type. That means what type of content is present. You have to tell about it in general actually. So style is nothing but when you write some styles, you have to tell the browser, is it a CSS related? Because this block is used for scripting also. You have to tell that. Then we have to write here style type is equal to text/CSS. This is the MIME type for CSS. That means for styles, the MIME type is text/CSS. Even you don't write, it will work, no problem. But some browsers cannot properly use it. So you should never take a chance. So that is the reason we have to mandatorily write the type so that browsers can easily understand. So whenever you are writing the style, you are configuring the style, you have to define the type. Type is equal to text/CSS. This is very important so that browser can understand that this belongs to CSS. So CSS also have generally we call this mechanism as browser functionality is very complex actually. So you have two mechanisms actually. HTML presents all the contents in a hierarchy called, already we learned in which hierarchy HTML presents. Yeah, we learned about HTML. HTML presents the contents in a hierarchy called, what is the hierarchy called? DOM, right? Similarly, CSS also presents the elements in a hierarchy called CSSOM, CSS object model. So we have document object model, we have CSS object model. So CSS also have an object model and HTML also have a document object model. So the point is we need to tell that this belongs to CSS or this belongs to HTML. So generally HTML related DOM model is also written like this. We write like this in JavaScript. In JavaScript, we do that actually. In JavaScript, we write the DOM model. And in CSS also, we have an object model. Now it is confused. So your browser will be confused. Is this JavaScript object model or CSS object model? It is confused about this object model. That is the confusion about the object model. That's the reason you have to tell clearly that this belongs to not DOM, this belongs to CSS object model. For that, you have to tell text/CSS and define as type. So it will be considered as CSS object model. So it is very important. So without this also, it may work, but it is recommended to use this type. So that is very important. So the type for style will be text/CSS. Okay, next important is when you are dealing with styles. So this is called MIME type. If anyone asks what is the MIME type of CSS, you have to tell text/CSS. Why a MIME type is required? To make the browser understand about what type of object model it is. Is it a document object model or a CSS object model? You have to tell that. Actually, browser contains both the models. It contains both the models. It combines both the models and presents. It's a very big concept. In JavaScript, I will explain that concept. But just observe the point here. Actually, this is how your browser works. That I will explain in a JavaScript, don't worry. This is the browser architecture. And actually, the browser contains a DOM hierarchy. So we have a DOM hierarchy. So you have a HTML, I will give you in this way. This is actually the process. So that is actually the process. That means now what happens here is usually first HTML. In your page, you are using HTML. And usually HTML have its own DOM. HTML have its own document model. CSS also have its own document model. These two are combined and they are connected as a render tree. After connecting as a render tree, a layout is designed for them. After connecting as a render tree, a layout is designed for them. A layout is defined for them. Layout is nothing but arranging the content in a correct way. After that, so the painting will happen. Painting is nothing but presenting on the screen. That means you return a color and presenting that color on the screen. Presenting the color on that screen is called painting. We call this mechanism as painting. Before painting, it will arrange. So in a layout, it will arrange. That means for which element it have to apply, it will arrange. So that means from HTML model, it will collect the element. From CSS model, it will collect the styles and create one layout. And after that, it will paint the layout. It will take some time to painting. This is how generally the process works in your browser. For example, you can see that also. So you can see that. So suppose see, you have this inspect. What you do is you go to performance here, performance. In the performance category, in the inspect performance category, there is a record button. You click on that record button. You click on the record button. When I click on that record button, it starts profiling. Wait for 10 seconds minimum to complete the profile and then stop. You can keep more time also. 10 seconds is enough for this page currently. So now you can see that after we profiled, so that means after profiling. So you can see that after profiling. So technically, yeah, after profiling, here you can see that. Yeah. Here you can see it is saying scripting, it is saying system, it is saying idle, and it has some call tree. You can see there is a call tree. And you will see some bottom-up representations, event logs will be there. You see in that there is an option, loading, scripting, rendering, painting like concepts are there, painting like options are there, painting like options are there. So this painting is nothing but finally presenting that color is called painting. We call that mechanism as painting. You can see that in performance. You can see that in performance, how much time it has taken for painting. It will display that. Later, you will see such options when we are learning about JavaScript and all. We will see that this is the summary actually. It will take some time. It will take some time to handle this. You can click on this record. It starts profiling. You wait for some time because actually to complete profile, it will take several minutes of time. After few minutes of profiling, you can stop it. Then it will get that information and display. Observe carefully. One more, you can see what you have to do is click on record. After click on record, you refresh this page. Now observe carefully. Wait for 10 or 15 seconds. Then once stop. Once you stop this, you can see that it has showed that process. That means you can see that it has showed the process. So in the process, so loading happened. After loading, rendering, scripting and rendering, after that painting happened. Painting is nothing but applying these effects and displaying those effects is called painting. So this is a browser technology. This is how your browser works actually in the background. That means if anybody asked at very experienced level how HTML presents, CSS presents in the browser, can you tell me the order? Then actually for that, we have to tell a sequence diagram. We need to give a sequence diagram. This is not for freshers. So this is not for fresher. So this is rendering is preparing for presentation. Rendering is preparing for presentation. That means collecting all the details and preparing it for the presentation is called rendering. Once it is prepared for the presentation, now it has to paint it on the browser. Painting is nothing but presenting where you want. First preparing for presentation, then painting that presentation. Understood? So rendering is the process of generating output. But the output is finally created by a mechanism called painting. Painting is the mechanism of creating the output actually. This is a general approach of browsers actually. So this is too much at your level, because at general learning level, you don't need this much in depth. That means I am showing you how browser works. You don't need to know that. But at experience level, if you show 5-10 years experience in development, these kind of issues you have to identify. You have to identify where problem, rendering taking time, painting taking time, or loading taking time. According to that, we have to resolve the issues. That's the reason we need to know this. So while learning, you can understand and you can deal with all these options step by step. Okay, right. So this is the basic point to understand. Like generally, there are two models, document model and CSS model. In order to tell, so whether it belongs to CSS or JavaScript. So we have to tell that. So by using this type. So type indicates the MIME type. Understood? This is the MIME type. So that is one important attribute used for style. Style type as text CSS. Understood everyone why to mention the type? Is it clear? Page comprises of how many DOMs, object models? Page comprises of how many object models? 2 object models. Good. What are those? So one is DOM, another one is CSS object model. CSS object model. And very important is presenting them on the screen, and generating the final output. That mechanism is called as that mechanism. First point is loading these objects is called loading. Understood? After loading, the next important point is rendering. Rendering is creating the layout. Scripting is not required for you. That later JavaScript you will learn. Understood? That is not for us as of now. We are not using any JavaScript, right? After loading, rendering, right? After rendering, then we have to define painting. That is the output. That is how we configure the output and define the output, right? So why to mention the type? That is important. I hope everyone understood this point, right? Now, one more attribute is there in the style. When you are writing style, one more attribute in the style is media. This is very important. Media indicates so where these styles need to be targeted. Because see, one of the main problem is media, we have 2 media. Important 2 media, screen, so we have print. 2 medias are present. You have a speech also, but it is not for every device. We have 2 important media, screen, another one print. That means now the problem here is, suppose you are designing a ticket, flight ticket, because flights websites, ticket booking websites. So, or you have to design an invoice. You have to print the bank statements. That means on screen, how you are watching, the same will not be in the printer also. Why? Because on screen, millions of colors can be viewed. But while printing, it depends on the printer. Sometimes printer supports, you see dot matrix printer, they support only gray and white printing, blue and white printing. Sometimes you print grayscale, sometimes you print blue. In that case, now what will happen is some colors you have applied here, they are visual on screen, but when they go to print out, they are missing. That will happen regularly because when you are watching on screen, it should look in a different way. When you are taking print out, same content will be there, but some colors, some alignments will change because for printer, we have to make them suitable for printing because printer means you take a hard copy. Suppose you see when you are watching on screen, it may have an animation. That means mouse over color will change, mouse out color will change. These animations will be problem in printing because on paper it cannot come. Then we have to design the styles for printing separate. So what you have to do is, I can write like this. You see, I written this is for screen. Okay. For screen, what I am doing, another option, text align. Text align, I am giving center. And I am writing another style. Later, we can write this through a technique called media query. I will tell you that point also. Initially, I am writing another style. Here, type is equal to text/CSS. And media, I given as print. Media, I defined as print. And here, I have defined heading 1. Now the color for heading should be gray because I am taking it to print. So then text align should be left side, no center. I want these colors for printing. Now observe carefully. So when I watching on screen, it is green color centered. But when I open printing options, Control P, printing options will open. In the printing, it is completely different. Its alignment is different. When you print, it will print in grayscale. It will print in grayscale. That means if I see on screen, it is different. When I take it print out, so it is different. That is how we can classify our content for printers and screens because on screen, several animations will be there. Suppose you see you are watching a ticket online. Then they will give you some stars blinking, offer 50% or 10%, some colors, animations will be there. If you try to print that, if animations are still there, then printer cannot recognize those moving animations and effects and it unable to print some content properly. That is the reason we have to target our styles for different media. So we have two types of media. So we have a print and we have screen. We have to define that by using an attribute called media. Media is equal to print or media is equal to screen. That's how we need to configure. We can write one style for print, another style for screens. That's generally how you are configuring the styles and defining the styles embedded. I hope while writing embedded, two important attributes, type and media. I hope everyone understood these two techniques, inline and embedded. Is it clear? Is it clear to everyone? Yes, good. Yes, Radhika, do you have any doubts? You can unmute yourself and you can talk if you have any doubts. You have any doubts? No? No doubts? You can't talk? You can unmute yourself and talk about your doubts. You want to chat with others, huh?
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, tell me.
Yes, sir. I am not able to see sir chat. As a result, I will not understand what questions you are answering. So can you please enable that?
I am answering the questions through my voice only. I am not chatting. I am not sending anybody messages. Questions also I am asking. I am not typing any questions. You have to follow my voice. I am not chatting with any one of these people in that.
Okay.
I am asking the questions and I am answering that through my voice only, no chattings. Understood?
Yes.
Only the people who are attending the session, when I asked a question, their answers they are sending in the chat. Understood? I hope you are clear in that. Huh?
Yes, yes.
I am not chatting with anybody. I am just speaking to everyone, right? My questions and answers will be through voice only. Okay.
Okay.
If you have any doubts, you can immediately raise your hand so that I can get back to you and I can address what doubt you are having. So no problem. Okay, na? Right. Right. I hope everyone is clear, right? If you have any doubts, no worry. Immediately raise your hand. If you have a doubt, I will get back to you and I will talk to you what doubts you are. Because instead of chatting on chat box, messaging, that's all time waste process. I hope you know that, right? Yeah. Yes. So if you have doubt, immediately you can raise your hand so that I will get back to you and I will check what problems you are having. So, and we can resolve that immediately. Okay. Right. So, because sometimes some doubts need to be clarified immediately. So if the doubt is related to the topic immediately, then you can raise your hand. Because at the end of the session, all of them will be lot of confusion. Okay, right. Yes, fine. So I hope everyone is clear with these two techniques, inline and embedded. Clear, right. So why we need to define MIME type? Why we need MIME type? Tell me why we need MIME type. What do you say? Why we need MIME type? So why we need MIME type? So we need MIME type to make, good. So that browser can easily understand the CSS object model. Understood? So browser can easily understand the CSS object model. That is the answer you have to give. Okay? To make the browser understand CSS model, CSS object model. Is it clear? Right. Yes. Now, what is media? Why media is required? What is media? Why media is required? Media is required to target print and screen. Am I right? Yes, good. Yes, it is for print and screen, to target print and screen. On print how you want, on screen how you want, we can configure that, right? These are two techniques. So we have inline, so we have embedded. One more I told you, right? The concept I told you, how the timing will be affected. So if I write outside HTML, keep in the head section, keep in the body section, depending on the situations, right? Next, important, one more option is, so what is problem in this now? The problem in this style is nothing but when you write styles in the page, in the head section or body section or outside, it is available only for this page. Suppose in a website, we will have several pages. That means in a website, we will have home page, about page, contact page. So many pages will be there in a website. In every page, heading must be same. Then the styles we written inside this page, we have written in this page, are accessible only to this page. They are not accessible to other pages. That means we cannot reuse to other pages. So that is the point. It cannot reuse to other pages. So it is not reusable to other pages. Now we want styles in such a way that we can use across all pages. That means generally what we do here. So generally what we do is usually we maintain a separate style sheet. We write all our styles in that style sheet. And we will have so many pages. Suppose this is some home page. This is like some about page. We have so many pages. Now we can use this style sheet in this page, and we can use in this page. This is an external style sheet. So this is an external file. So generally, this is a style sheet. We call it as a style sheet. We call this as style sheet. So this is style sheet. We have this style sheet. Now, why it is called cascading style sheet? Why we call as cascading style sheet? What is the reason behind it? I will tell you the point here. The cascading concept is, so have you heard about the word cascading before this? Anywhere you used this word cascading? So cascading, have you heard about that? No, cascading, right? So yeah, I will show you one simple. It's a very simple thing to understand. See, suppose I have MS Paint. I have this Visual Studio Code. So we have this MS Paint Visual Studio Code. In my computer, I'm opening all this Notepad, the browser, PowerPoint, so many softwares I opened like this. And you observe carefully at the bottom in the taskbar, you see in the taskbar, I can right click on the taskbar. There is an option called Cascade Windows. Have you ever used it? Do you know it? Have you ever used it? Do you know it? Cascading? No, you don't know. You know only shut down and shut on and off your windows. You don't know this. You never saw this cascading, right? Yeah. But see here, I am selecting Cascade Windows. When I am selecting Cascade Windows, you can see all these windows are arranged like this. One behind another, they are arranged in this way. So this is Cascade is a type of arrangement. Now, what is the speciality about this type of arrangement? This type of cascading arrangement. The speciality of this type of arrangement is from the foreground, we can see what are running in the background. Am I right? From the foreground. So we can see what are running in the background. What do you say? Am I right? From the foreground, we can see what are running in the background, right? We can see in the background what are running in the background. This type of arrangement is called cascading. We call this mechanism as cascading. Now, the point here is, what is the concept of this cascading is, see, that means the concept is very clear. Suppose we have a style sheet. That means we have a style sheet. Style sheet usually will have extension, so .css. We will have extension .css. And we have some HTML pages. So we have like some HTML pages are there. So we have HTML pages. Suppose we have some home, some HTML page. So we have like about some HTML page. So these are the pages. So general HTML pages. Now what happens is this style sheet comprises of some set of effects. It contains some set of effects. So we define some effects there. So we configure some set of effects. And this style sheet, so can cascade. Actually, this can cascade for any HTML page. It can cascade for any HTML page. It can cascade for any HTML page. That means in the foreground, you are watching the HTML page. In the foreground, you are watching that HTML page. In the background, it contains the effects coming from the style sheet. That means now the point here is styles. This style sheet can cascade for any of your pages. One style sheet is used for all your pages. Now, what is advantage here is when you make changes in the style sheet, it is going to affect everywhere. That means they are present in the background and they provide effects to the foreground HTML page. So this mechanism is cascading. We have a cascade type of arrangement. So from the background, the effects are applied and they can be seen in the foreground in a HTML page. That's what actually the concept of style sheet. So what is advantage is you can access and use from any location. You can access and use from any page. So the effects can work for every page. What is problem in this? Problem is now how many pages are there? How many files are there? That means, for example, home. Home is not alone. For home, the styles comes from a style sheet. That means 2 requests will be there. That means from a client side, for every page, there will be 2 requests now. For a client side, I make a request for home page. It has to request the CSS behind it also. That means for every page, how many requests will happen now? For every page, how many requests will happen? For every page, 2 requests will happen. One request is for page, HTML. Another request is for CSS, style sheet. So as a software developer, you should remember one point. If number of requests for a page will increase, then page load time will also increase. This is the problem with style sheet. So you cannot say that style sheets are external styles are best. They also have a problem. Not only one style sheet, every page can use several style sheets. Suppose a page is using 4 or 5 style sheets, then you have a lot of problem. That means it will take more time in loading. As a software developer, in web technology especially, you have to remember, as much as possible, try to reduce the number of requests for page. Don't use many files in the background. That will affect the performance of page. It will slow down. So these are very basic things you need to understand. Perfectly, you need to first know and understand about this. So you see here how to define this now. I want some styles for this page. You see currently when I run this, so you can see it's not having any effects. So let's go to our project. In the project, I will maintain a separate folder called styles. And in the styles folder, I will add a new file. I will give the file name as some headings.css. Style sheets must have the extension .css. Okay, enter. So now this is defined. Here you can write the styles. So heading 1. You don't need any style tag, only directly the style objects you have to write here. Heading 1. So I will put heading 1 some color as red and heading 1 text, align, center. Like this I written. Some effects I have written. Now you can see that these styles are not available here. You can see that the styles are not available here. You can see, I will go to inspect. So go to inspect, go to network, and here start recording. Already it is recording. So you have to apply the style sheet here. We have to apply the style sheet. Let's go to the code. In the code, you have to link this style sheet to your HTML page. Then you can link in head section or body section anywhere, as I told you the situation. In the head section, I am writing a link tag. And link relation is equal to, we have to write style sheet. Already you have learned link relation shortcut icon, how to set favorite icons. In general HTML, you have learned link relation shortcut icons, how to create shortcut icons and define them, favorite icons. Here link relation, you have to write style sheet, and the link href is equal to, so you have to attach that heading. It is present in another folder. We have to come out of the current folder, .. It is present in styles. In styles, we have a file called headings.css. I am applying that. We are linking an external style sheet to our page. I will save this now and observe carefully. Immediately when I save this, you see here, you can observe carefully here. The time you can see here, load time, it is showing 105 seconds. So DOM content loaded in 105. Total time is some 106 seconds, like that. So take the DOM content loaded, 105 seconds. But see the number of requests here. Actually, you can observe 3 requests are there here. 3 requests. You may be thinking like, I have only 2 files, why 3 are coming? Actually, 2 only. The third one is related to your live server. Currently, your project is using a live server. The third one is related to that live server. So we don't need to consider that. That means for page 2 requests are happening. One for HTML, another for CSS. And it is taking 105 seconds to load and the milliseconds to load. And it is having the effects. You can see it is having the effects. It is having the effects. We will do one thing. So we will remove the external style sheet. So we will remove the external style sheet. So let's go and remove that external style sheet. Okay. And we will write these styles. We will write these styles in the head section or in the body section. We will write those styles embedded. We are writing the styles embedded, not in external style sheet. Then you can see here the number of requests. The number of requests. Here you can see the number of requests. So now reduce it to 2. The number of requests are reduced to 2. You can see the number of requests are reduced to 2. So I hope you got that. That is the number of requests reduced to 2 now. That means the number of requests reduced to 2 now. And time also reduced. Time also reduced. Right from 105 to 102 milliseconds, it has reduced. That means when you are using an external style sheet, so always you have a problem in the time. So unnecessarily don't use a style sheet. So until or unless you need reusability across the pages, and there is no other alternative choice for you, then you have to go with external style sheet. So you should never say that this is best, this is not best, because every technique have a problem. And how to link the external style sheet? You can just define. So link relation is equal to style sheet, and the link href is equal to, so from the styles, headings.css. We have to link that style sheet here. Now, when you are linking the style sheet, this is external style sheet, and those styles are applied here, configured here, the number of requests will increase for the page. But what is advantage is you can link to any HTML page. In every HTML page, wherever headings are there or wherever effects you want, you can use this. And what is advantage? You make changes in the CSS file. You change the color, so you add some effects. So you make changes in the CSS file. It is going to affect all the pages that you have. That means wherever this is used, everywhere it will make the changes. It will make the changes. So it will update the changes. So it has drawback and it is having an advantage. Reusability concerns are there. So now when you are using external style sheet, so you have to understand external style sheet. You have to understand one more very important concept, that is, generally style sheets will have extension .css. When you are working with CSS or JavaScript, CSS, these two regularly, we need to understand a concept called minification. This is very important. In real-time projects, so we cannot use this CSS code directly in final project. When we are publishing the application, we can't use this. Why we cannot use this? Because so these files are not compressed. They occupy a lot of space in memory. So we will never use these files directly in the project when we are publishing the project. Publishing means making live. That means you finished building the project. After building the project, you tested it. After testing, finally you need to publish. You need to make it live. In live, when you are making live, you should not use these CSS files directly. Then what to do? Why we should not use these CSS files? Because you cannot use these CSS files because they occupy a lot of space in memory. For example, observe here. We will open this file, right click, open in Explorer, reveal in Explorer. You can see it opens this file. Right click on the file and see properties. In the properties, you see it is occupying 50 bytes. It is occupying 50 bytes. That means, observe carefully, in that file actually 4 lines only code is there. That means you have just 4 lines code, 4-line code. So we have 4 lines code and it is occupying 50 bytes of space. If there are thousands of lines of code is there, that obviously it will be there. In real world development, we will write hundreds, thousands of lines of code. Then it will be in even MB, 1 MB or 2 MB or 3 MB like that. It will increase the size. And I hope you know that. So in real time, when you are hosting websites, we have to purchase space. You know it? You know this point? You have to purchase space. And if space is increasing, then you have to pay more money. So if space is increasing, you have to pay more money. That means, for example, suppose you see, if you want a website, we have some GoDaddy. GoDaddy is a domain seller, space seller. You see GoDaddy. Suppose you want a website, then what you do is, so you can search for domain. Domain means by which name you want a website. Suppose I am searching here. I want like smart online store. I am searching for domain called smart online store. And you see that smart online store, so .com is available and its cost is 1,82,000 per year and plus 999 per year. You have to pay this amount. That means it's not like, so you can freely have a website. You can never have a website. You have to purchase that. But you see, some other domains are there. Say Sharp online store. It is only $4.99 per year. But this is 1 lakh because depending on demand, sometimes it will be 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs also. 30, 40 lakhs also you have to pay for that name. Only name, remember. For example, you see in this GoDaddy, suppose we will go to the home page, you can see in hosting domains. Yeah, in the domains, you will have auctions for domains. When you go to domain auctions, so you see domain auctions. Some domains are in auction. So some domains will be in auction. And how many? Let's search. So 25. So some featured, suppose I am like Sarl. And you see it is showing these domains, and you can see the domains, these domains, and you can observe that. So this savinggrace.com, this domain costs 37 lakhs 59,000. That costs 37 lakhs 59,000. Only name. You are purchasing only name. That means it's not like free. It's not like free. So if the domain is so very much in demand, lot of auctions will happen on that. So that means you have to know that. So this is not free business. Website development is not free thing. Website publishing is not free. You have to pay for that. And very important, you just purchased only name. After purchasing name, you have to purchase space also. Suppose I will go here. You can see, you can go to hosting. Now you searched name. Name is available or not? Okay, available. How much you can pay for the name? Sometimes in 500 rupees you will get. Sometimes you have to purchase for lakhs of rupees if you want a specific name. Then hosting. After purchasing name, you have to go to hosting. And see, I selected web hosting. And in web hosting, you can see the pricing. The pricing is, you can see, they give 256 MB RAM, 30 GB of storage, and 99 rupees per month. Per month. If you want more storage, 100 GB, 199 per month. And if you want more unlimited, then you can go with 299 per month. That means for space also you have to pay money. It's not free. It's not free. For emails also you have to pay money. Emails also not free. Suppose you developed a website. So your website name.com, and anybody wants an email on your website, like his name at your site.com, like that he want that on your site you want an email. For every email you have to pay money. It's not free. To maintain emails also you have to pay money. Observe, there will be something like here, email also will be there. See, email. So email, observe here, when I go to email, so they say that. So you see, for domain, 229 rupees per user per month. That means for every user, for one email, you have to pay 29 rupees. That's not so easy. That is not, that means website building is not just free, right? You have to pay for that. It's not free. So depending on the type, that's the reason it's a very big business now. It's a very big business now. The point is, as a web developer, you cannot waste space. You cannot waste space. You have to make sure that whatever you are designing, they occupy less space in memory. Otherwise, you have to pay for that. So that's the reason. The point is, minification. Minification is the process of compressing CSS files. It is the process of compressing CSS files. Now, don't think that actually compressing means zip. It's not zip or rar. That is different. Actually, minification means minification is a coding technique used to reduce the number of lines and size of file. Not compressing means zip file. Not compressing means zip file. That means the point here is, So it is not zipping the file. It is a technique. Technique means I will tell you. For example, I am writing if condition and true statement. And I am writing like else we have false statement. That means on false what statement to execute, on true what statement to execute. Actually, this code is written in some lines. That means you written this in few lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines code I written, suppose. Now this same code, without affecting the functionality, we can write like this. We can write a condition, question mark, it is true, colon, it is false statement. I hope you might have heard about. If you don't know, no problem. Later you will learn that. This is minifying the code. Understood? That means you are reducing this 8 lines of logic into one line now, into one line. This technique is called minification. Don't think that minification means zip the file. If you zip the file, it cannot be used in your HTML page. It is not compressing means zipping the file. Compressing means reducing the code in such a way that it will reduce the number of lines. So for that, we need so many softwares. Online different softwares are present. You can use those softwares. You can even download the softwares also. Later, I will show you some commands, how to use them. Initially, what you can do is how to reduce this code. Now I can copy this. Go to any website. Online, you can search on Google. You can search for CSS minifier. You can see CSS minifier, lot of tools will come. I will open this cssminifier.com. It is one website. In this website, put your original CSS code, copy your CSS code. After copying the CSS code, you have to click on minify button. Then you can see that that code is minified to one line. Remember, minification means don't think that everything in one line only. Depending on how much content you are having, it will remove unnecessary spaces. It will remove unnecessary code. It will shorten your code and make the code simplified. So now you can copy this code. You can copy this code, right? Copy the code. After copying this code, so we can copy it. Now you go to your project. In your CSS folder, you have to add a new file. So headings.min.css. For minified files, we give the suffix as min. So it is just a tradition. So and enter. This is the minified file. In the minified file, keep the code that you have written. So whatever the code we copied, the minified code we have copied, we kept in this minified file. Actually, there are separate tools, so separate softwares, which you can download and use in your computers. Those softwares will generate this minified file automatically for you. I will show such softwares also. Initially, you can follow this technique manually. Okay, now see here in the page, we have to link that minified file. That means headings.min.css. We are linking the minified file. Now I will open this page. So that means open that in the browser. Open that in the browser, right? Effects are working from minified file. No problem. Effects are working from minified file. I will inspect here. Go to the network category. And once you refresh here, you can see now the load time reduced to 74 milliseconds. Understood the difference? Huh? That means you are compressing the file. Even file size might have been reduced also. Even the file size might have been reduced. Observe, I will go to the Explorer. In that we have headings.min file. Right click and see the properties. It is 33 bytes space. Earlier, the original file was how much? The original file was having 50 bytes space, nah? Right? It is compressed to now 33 bytes. This is called minification. But remember, in real-time project, a developer is provided with both files. That means we are given with two files. the heading.css file, headings.min.css file. Why? Because remember, there are two situations, development and production. Development, quality, production, so many are there. Production. In development, we build application. In development, we are building the application. In quality, we test the application. In production, we make the application live. That means this application is live now. So that means it is being used by your client. It is live. While building, don't use this minified file. Why? Because if you use a minified file in building, if you got any problems, that means if you got any technical issues, if you got any technical problems, if you got any technical issues, it is difficult to find out the problem in which line problem occurred. Why? Because all the lines are compressed. It is difficult to find the problem where the problem occurred. That is the reason while building, we use which file? While building, we use the original file. And while publishing, we use which file? While publishing, we use which file? While publishing, we use, right. So while publishing, we have to use, while publishing, we have to use the minified file. We have to use the minified file in the publishing. That means in the production, we have to use them. So that is the reason a developer is given with both the files, both the files, right? I hope everyone is clear with this, right? I will show you some softwares also, how to download the softwares and how to use them for minification. But while working with CSS, you need to understand one concept called minification. Another concept is there. We call it as CDN, Content Delivery Network. What is that CDN? How that CDN works? We have to understand. That we will see in next session. Tomorrow we will discuss about that, okay? Tomorrow we will see some more points about these styles and some more options we will discuss, okay? Tomorrow we will continue with this session, okay?